Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of The Binding of Isaac Repents. If you just watched the last episode where we did our greed run with Azazel, this will be a very natural continuation of that episode because I am recording it just after a short break, got some water, just like recovered my voice a little bit. But like I said in that episode, we are going to be doing an Eden run. So let's get right into it. So, that was, so let's see, we look very angry. We look like a founding father, basically. Oh, we don't have any bombs. Oh, we have fist tears. I don't think we can actually. Oh, well, we got the bombs. We got the bombs. It may have hurt a good deal, but we have obtained the bombs. And let's see, is that spider shot? Is that 4-shot? Oh, so occasionally we he literally, that is terrifying. Oh my god, it reminds me of that one fish, where there's like this parasite, and we can use that, where it literally just bites the fish's tongue off, and then attaches itself as its new tongue, and it's like, that is nightmare right there if I've ever seen anything. Oh, speaking of nightmare fuel. So after I got done with my research today, I was just kind of chilling out. I was like, I think I'm going to record some Isaac videos a little bit later, but I just want to take a little bit of a break first. And I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I came to a video by, I believe it's the Anime Man, if you want to watch it yourself, and it was about a real life, so there's manga written on this real life tragedy that happened. I believe the victim's name was Junko Furuta, I want to say. And it was just this horrible story. So basically, she was a very popular 16-year-old, Japanese girl back in the 1990s. And one day, I believe she turned down some big shot at the school, and people were he wasn't very happy about that. I don't remember how he factors into the rest of this the story, but I know I think the thing I read on the story also said that. But yeah, she was just coming home from school one day on her bike, and there were these 4 boys, and they knock her off her bike, but they want to make it look like they're coming to help her, to an outsider. So they basically then proceed to kidnap her. Oh, what the heck? He got punched. So they proceed to kidnap her, and then put her through what is known in Japan as the 44 days of hell, where they do unspeakable things that are I'm not going to say any of the things that was done in this video, but you can obviously find it on the internet if you so choose. I will not share it here, but so yeah, this poor girl just had to suffer through 44 days of hell, pleading with her captors to kill her and just put her out of her misery and, get done with it. But they would not grant her that luxury. And so on the 44th day, she ended up passing away from shock from her wounds. And, the horrible things they did is when they first kidnapped her, they were just, she was so confused and terrified what's going on, and the captors, not wanting to be found out very quickly, made her, call back to her parents and say, no, I'm not actually, gone or missing, I'm just, hanging out with a friend, everything's chill, which, delayed finding her and the search for her a lot, and so that's really sad to think about, because she was probably doing it because she just didn't want to get beaten, and she thought if she went along with them, maybe they would spare her a little bit more if she was cooperative, but no, they did nothing. They were just absolute monsters, and it was so sad because it was actually hundreds. First of all, there was the whole event is just so sad and tragic, but the police ended up coming to the home that she was being kept at, but the boys were just no, we nothing of the sort, we haven't seen her, we're not involved in any way, and then they left, and then they would have been able to, if they actually thoroughly did their job, they would have been able to save this girl, save her life. Her life doubtless it would never have been the same after the horrible things that happened to her. but at least she would be able to live and perhaps one day be able to reclaim her story. But no, she got no such luxury. And yeah, there was ended up being hundreds of people that basically knew, members of like the Yakuza, which is the Japanese mafia, if you're not aware. Like they knew this poor girl was being trapped here and did nothing about it. And so yeah, because they obviously just didn't want their, you know, their connection with the Yakuza to be exposed. But just like, you know, you would have hoped that one person would have said this is too much, and would have like secretly, you know, called it in and been like, yo, this gotta stop, this is where she's at. But no, nothing of the sort happened. And yeah, because the four main boys that were involved with the original kidnapping were they were under 18 at the time. There was a bunch of laws protecting them and whatnot, so they did not nearly get the full sentence that they really should have for just the horrible, heinous atrocities that they committed. Just like it's just amazing, like the depths of human cruelty. And you have to imagine, like, for what, like, these boys get pleasure out of this? Like, is that why people engage in such horrible cruelty against another person? Because they want to be able to, like, live out this fantasy. We got lifesteal. You know, that was a good item from the last. But yeah, like, what would you get pleasure out of this heinous commitment? Because you like to feel like you have full power over another human being? Is it like that's what you're getting out of it, just living that fantasy? And it's like, you know, you could consensually gain that fantasy if you know you found the right person for you, but like to just force that into another person without their consent is just truly heinous. Yeah, so like I was saying though, is they didn't end up getting really sentenced to full extent, and like some of the, like, I know at least one of the boys at the trial was not even just like not sorry, he was like boasting over what he did, like he was completely proud of what he had done to this girl, and it's just like, oh, just sickening. That is polite, so we will take that. It's just like, oh my god. Oh, and then he still got away with so little. And like, I know one of the boys' mothers ended up going to Junko's grave and like defiling it, because she was like, you were the one that like ruined my son's life. And his mother was obviously extremely just distraught at the fact that her son had committed such a vile act, but still to like defile the grave, it was like not even in depth did she have peace. Yeah, that's the story, the terrible story of Junko Furuta. I want to say Futaro. I think that's probably not the actual pronunciation. I do want to try to give her some respect, because another part that I know the anime man was talking about this video is people were making manga based off of this tragedy, and like one person made a manga where basically they stories. So Junko ended up like getting out of the situation in the end, and like they try to make us feel guilt about like I shouldn't say feel guilt, but like feel bad about the perpetrators, that like they were this way, you know, the horrible things happened in the past, and doubtlessly that should have influenced it. But these people, you know, have the full capacity to say this is wrong at any given moment and get her out of the situation. But they you know, decided not to. They decided to enjoy their sadistic pleasures with this girl instead. And so it's just like about the of this manga of like not keeping the story and actually respecting the events, so we can remember Junko for what happened and still try to give her some modicum of respect in death, like that, you know, unfortunately did not get in life. And he also mentioned, I think, like some very horrible, like another one that they did. So there was one that I was talking about where they like changed the story completely, and then there was just one where they showed in graphic detail like all the horrible things these boys did to Junko, and it was like, like it was just straight up like gore porn basically, and it's just like oh, this is a real human being. Like I know some people enjoy that kind of stuff, but like, yeah, you know, if it stops somebody from going out and doing these horrible things to a person by online, I guess that is some small benefit that comes out of it, but still it is, you know, incredible. What the frick? He just went flying. What was that? Yeah. So there was that, and you know, if you're interested in that story, it's just like, now that Rosie, it's just truly astounding. And I remember I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day, because she was like, I don't understand why people want power over other human beings. Like, doesn't just get that, because she's not that type of person that, you know, doesn't necessarily, you know, there are different types of leaders for sure. Some people literally just seek out leader for, like, power for the sake of power, and hopefully, you know, as, you know, the leader would say, I want power because I want the ability to create change and create betterment and whatnot, rather than, you know, I want power to feel good about myself, or, you know, just power for the sake of power more than less, I'm saying. And yeah, that is really, I would say, you know, the point of people want power is that people have things they care about in this world. And with power, you actually have the ability to go and protect them. It's just, you know, it's the case that some people, when they protect what they care about, they do it directly at the expense of other people. Which is like the true thing. Like, you know, not realizing, oh my god, I'm almost dead. Not realizing that a lot of the time, you know, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you don't have to hurt another person to get what you want. And it's just the realization, like, we don't anymore live in like a zero-sum world like that, where your gain has to come at someone else's expense. Oh, this was an XL floor? That makes more sense now. Okay. Try not to die! Maybe. I wish we don't actually have like a lot of large damage. I do not like what? Oh wait, it was the freaking punch tears? Is that what happened before when the like enemy came just like absolutely sailing into me? I'm gonna guess. Oh. Okay, HP up, please. That is a tears up, I believe. Yeah, that's a tears up, which is very good in its own right, but we have one heart. Guess we're just gonna go in. Oh, and it's heart loss! Okay, I'm gonna need to extra focus. Try to bomb. Oh shoot, we're not dead. Let's fight. Oh, we are alive. We live another day, and that is a damage plus tear up and some HP. Nice. Hoo-wee. Well, let's go down to the next floor. Oh, but you know, it is difficult sometimes. It can seem like sometimes that people's views are entirely mutually opposed, and there is no really good way to compromise. And that kind of leads me back to what we were talking about with slavery. You know, you can really say the start of the Civil War was really just like in the American Revolution, where they didn't state in the, you know, the Declaration of Independence or Constitution, or they did state, you know, all men are created equal. But, you know, they didn't actually follow through with acts to secure liberties for slaves. But I would say, like, beyond that, the most major contributor to the, you know, slavery is the Missouri Compromise, because it's interesting when you actually look at it, that the majority of people in the South were not actually slave owners. I think my teacher put up with the class that it was 3/4 of white people in the South did not actually own slaves. It was like, you know, the wealthy elite. 1/4 they did, and it's like they, you know, the 3/5 compromise and reducing how human to just 3/5 of a person. Well, slaves got reduced, I would say, to not humans. They got reduced to like a ability, a pair of hands that had to like literally they had to disassociate from their body to be able to like live through the experience they did through and try to maintain sanity on the other side. We got cluster bombs now, or scatter bombs. But and it's like it wasn't really compromising because one side like so treat that black people are naturally inferior and either so then needs like white protection. Other people, other side like nah. They people, African Americans are and I would it's wrong to say that I should to be a little bit more nuanced, I shouldn't say all the reasons why people fought against slavery was entirely this, just fight against, just fight against the equity of slavery. Because I know definitely Frederick Douglass pointed that out in a lot of his speech. Because I remember he was invited on the 4th of July to give a speech to a bunch of like well-intentioned white people that were there. That they were anti-slavery, but a lot of times I think people were anti-slavery. I don't know what that is. We will take the spirit like anti-slavery or pro-climate, not because they actually want to take the action to actually fix those issues, but because it makes them feel good about themselves. They feel like, oh, I'm on the right side of history. And that was, that's definitely a thing we ended up talking about in my play class, my literal, I think my favorite class in all of college was that oftentimes it's not the just straight up races that are dangerous, perpetuating racist structures. It's the well-intentioned like white liberal acting like saying words and rhetoric that's against slavery, but then taking no actions to actually fix the issues that are still perpetuating. Or a lot of time you get like the white savior attitude where it's like black people and other minorities don't have the ability to actually stand up for themselves. It's like they need a white person to come in and do it for them. And it's like, well, if that's basically I don't know, that's an evil PhD, I believe. But I really would not want to go down to 0. Luck down.
Luck down.
Bad. So I think we'll just move on without that. What was I talking about? Yeah, and it's like, at that point, you're not actually progressing anything. You're not progressing like the infantilizing narrative that's often used against black people. I have heard it's definitely done by slavery, because a lot of slavery, I think I might have mentioned this in previous episode, a lot of the slaveholders were like, yeah, well, the black people, they, are naturally inferior, so they need me to come in and protect them, or else they'll just, I don't know, they won't be, this is like the best life they can attain working as a slave for me, because without me, they're like, what are they gonna do? They're probably just gonna, die in like a sewer somewhere, because that's all the capabilities they really have. And it's like, this definitely even came back. I saw this, you might think it's like, oh, nothing like that. I've never seen anything like that. But I actually did see it when we were, so we ended up adding, was it, I think a year ago now, I was doing some RA training about EDI, and I finally had to thought to myself, like, what can I do to actually help EDI as, a white person who's also the president of the club? I thought, why don't I add, and I was also doing a section, like, at our meetings called Forgotten Voices, which is where we go back and we honor I would say a chemist of a historically marginalized identity who maybe contributed to science. I remember, I think our first one was Betty Green. We've had plenty of science since then, but it was like, it felt really wrong as like a white dude to tell the story, because it's like, this doesn't feel like my story to tell. Like, sure, I can say it, but this is like, I never actually had to live through any experiences or had to, you know, suffer through this in my color of my skin. So I was like, okay, let's add like an EDI officer. And so we got this really chill dude named Aiden. I think he, oh god, I want to say, I should know this. I think he's from the same, my roommate's brother, so that's why I'm getting, god, I really, I feel embarrassed that I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, we got him on board. He's super cool. Like, love him. Wait, oh, we can't actually blow this up. Like, oh, let's see. Yeah, so we got him on board. Because after one of our meetings, it was Aiden was like, hey, you guys, if you want to stay after, we'd like to tell you about like, kind of stuff I experienced back. So like, cool. I'm gonna stay after this Aiden. I have the bag. I'm gonna listen to Aiden because I'm playing interesting today. He surely did. It's very interesting seeing this perspective that never happened before and how other people have experienced life. He's telling us about that, and then like, one of the people that was also listening was like, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she basically treated him like, oh, we actually unlocked something new here. We got boss rush. I think we will actually try to do this. Basically, we're gonna, because we do have the ability to fly. But yeah, she was basically like, oh, poor baby, like, there must be so much trauma that you can't even process that you had to go through. And the thing was, Aiden definitely did experience some, you know, stuff because of his position that he was born to in the race, but one of the things he was saying was like, it's definitely not as bad as some people he knows, or definitely as other people have experienced, and that was a big emphasis on it. And so it was like, this person was like, oh, you poor baby, like, you probably just don't even understand, like, the trauma that you've gone through, and it was just very insulting. So I oh my god, I commented and said something. The big thing, I was like, you know, I don't want to speak for Aiden, but like, this is how, when you say this, how it comes off to me. And I was like, oh my god, I keep forgetting that. I think we just go behind this boss. It's like our main strategy. That might be a good idea. And, oh my god, this boss. Okay, we're just gonna let our body do stuff. Do that, the sudden flip. And it was just, so I spoke up. Oh, we got a heart. Nice. So I spoke up for him and defended him and showed like, hey, this ain't right. But I didn't want to speak on his behalf or represent his feelings. Like, obviously the only one that could truly speak to his experience and how he was feeling was himself. So yeah, that happened. It's just like, that was like, obviously the person who said it is one of those instances where it was like a well-intentioned white person saying this, and like, despite that, it was it just came off poorly, and it was insulting, it was patronizing, it was condescending, infantilizing. I love how, let's just get you out of there. You unlocked Necropolis. But yeah. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh, that also reminds me of like the huge thing, you know, in like intent versus like feeling. It's like, oh, people will often say, you know, oh, I didn't mean to say that. It's like, why are you acting that way? I didn't mean to say that. And when people do that, you know, it's like rather insulting to the person that was like feeling the way they were, because instead of just owning up and saying like, oh dang, I like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't think that it could come off that way, and so my bad, you know, I won't, you know, I'll work on that to make sure I don't do that next time. And rather just, you know, accepting that responsibility, people actually just put it on other people, which is like extraordinarily frustrating thing, especially when it's done. Like, it makes more sense when people do it when they like don't know each other, you know, it's some like random person, like I wouldn't really put the expectation on somebody that I don't know to like live up to that, but, you know, when someone you know and you, this person that you think should rightfully care for you when they pull up, it's like, oh my god, it's like not a fun experience. You know, it's something I definitely have gone through in the past, both of my on the receiving and on the giving end. And I'd like to think that, you know, I'm getting better at this over time. And that's one thing. I've definitely changed in my ability to empathize with people over time. It definitely like helped and developed in college because, like, in high school I was definitely the person that was like, if you came to talk to me, I was gonna be like, fix your problem, man, just like a lot of people are. And I, you know, definitely throughout college I realized that's not actually what a lot of people want when they come to talk about things. Like, a lot of people just want their feelings to be validated, you know, that, oh, that sucks, or I'm sorry to hear you going through that, that'd be super rough. Like, anything I can do to, you know, help you with this, you just want to like vent to me for a while. They definitely changed. That was not the way I approached things in high school, for sure. And it's interesting to think about like, the other ways I've changed since high school. Like, I know my personality might have like slightly changed as well. I took the Myers-Briggs test in high school, and I think I got INTJ. I want to say, I believe it's like lead architect. But, you know, and I definitely taken it since then. In college, I've got INFJ, which I believe is not the protagonist. What it is. It's like, I actually can't even remember what it's called right now. But yeah, I'm look that up after I like try to finish boss rush. By the way, that's what we're doing right now. It's called boss rush. I believe you get if you beat boss rush with any of the characters, you will get into it. So it is something you want to get items. Hopefully, eventually you also have to do with everybody, and you unlock boss rush by beating him in less than 20 minutes. You can go in, you can choose an item, and if you choose an item, then you'll have to do boss rush. A lot of bosses. I don't know how many are left, but I believe it might be all the bosses, like before the wound. So, you know, it's gonna be a little bit. And hopefully, we definitely were lucky that we got that red heart off. That was very helpful. Kill the 4 to 5 here. Bro, get out of here. Another heart. We should remember that's over there in case we need it later. And we, you know, we don't have an extremely high DPS build right now, so we'll grab that right now, actually. So, you know, the boss rush is even going on even longer. Oh, yeah, there's 2 more. There's Krampus. Oh god, now I'm just thinking about what INFJ is. Not the protagonist. Something. Let's drop a bomb there. Oh, that just hit on my little thing. Where are you going? Hey, get him, little bomb. Get him, little bomb. You know, this boss rush is going on for so long. My brain's just like, I need a break, bro. You need to give me some time to think before you can come up with something more to say. Oh my god, it just keeps going, I'm so glad we have little spider bro though. Like, just do his thing, because he's definitely just big help. Ghost bro over there. Oh my god, that reminds me. I was at the same friend that was talking about power. She does legitimately believe in ghosts. And she was like trying to convince me why ghosts exist, and she was like, well, you can't prove to me like ghosts don't exist, right? And it's like, well, literally, if you say that, oh my god, it keeps just going. You could say that about literally everything. It's like, well, I can't prove it, so it could theoretically be true. Like, I could say technically all cockroach creatures are just not like all aware of it, you know, just like all the governments in the reptile, but we're thoroughly aware of that, you know. But so where did I even get on that? I fucking yeah, we had like she is a very fun person to talk to. We have very long conversations about oh my god, I keep thinking like this is gonna be it. I'm gonna get a break. Oh my god, this is death. Okay, and we are gonna do this part over here. And it's like not even all the bosses just up to the womb, because I know death is a boss that can only show up after on the womb and after. Oh, we got a half of heart. Nice. Like, please. Oh my god. He's got another. Please die, Mr. Death. What a statement. Please die, Mr. Death. Yeah, I was talking about, we had very, very long conversations about, like, well, I guess theory, right? So I'm like, there has to be like another level of theory beyond quantum mechanics. So what, like, usually happens in the development of science is, like, some fundamental assumption is broken in the old model, and so you end up being able to create a new model when you figure out what assumption is being broken. Like when you develop quantum mechanics, for instance, we're like, classical man, we're like, oh, energy is continuous, and we learn, oh, shit, energy isn't always continuous, because you can actually have discrete quantum energy, and only certain allowable energy states, and certain allowable momenta, and so on and so forth. So, like, me and my friends are talking today about, like, okay, what fundamental assumption do we think we're going to break that's going to lead to the next level of theory? And like game 2, like the speed of light is when we were like, that seems like a pretty what's the, you know, rationale behind the speed of light being the maximum speed? And it's basically because Albert Einstein did so, and that's basically it. So we're like, that could definitely change at some point. And you know, there's a lot of things in this world that we still don't understand, because we don't understand, you know, dark energy. We still don't understand, like, the matter-antimatter conundrum. How at the beginning of this universe, there's for some reason more matter than antimatter, and that's the only reason we have a universe existence. Oh my god, we're finally done. And we got Dry Baby. Fan-freaking-tastic. And we got Undefined. Whew! I don't know if we're going to be able to beat Mom's Heart. We're going to have to get like a hero font card to give us 2 spirit hearts or something like that if we want. So there's a lot of things that we still don't understand, which is another reason why, you know, there's going to have to be a theory that's about, you know, this quantum entanglement, for instance, that we can't explain, where we don't know what quantum entanglement is. Basically, the fact that it seems like information can actually go faster than the speed of light. And what I mean when I say information, it's like, if 2 particles, oh, my game is like actually slowing down for some reason, that was weird. If 2 particles are entangled, let me actually give a simplifying thing, because it might be too confusing to use like this exact definition. So let's say you have 2 red circles that are entangled with each other, and all of a sudden one of the red circles becomes blue. Then what ends up happening is the other red circle will also instantaneously turn blue, no matter how fast they are apart from each other. Like it doesn't give a crap about the speed of light, because you could put the objects like 3 times like all the way across the universe. It doesn't matter. It's like they literally will change color at the same time, and that applies to actual particles with properties like spin and whatnot. So it seems like information can travel faster. Oh my god, we got death again. We got the death hard. So it's like, okay, what's love? What will explain all of this things? Oh my gosh. And that's why when I came up with the idea of the void, I would say the void is probably just made of dark energy. It's like it doesn't actually have any mass. It's literally just made of energy. Because there's like some really weird observations. We got a 2nd level meat boy. Now he spits. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was talking about quantum entanglement particles, and I don't actually remember what exactly the train of thought that I was on. I talked about circles, and then I talked about, oh yeah, the void dark energy. There's things I do remember now. And like in my physics, in one of my quantum physics class, we were talking about how like two like particles could actually like interact with other particles, and like new particles could just like show up out of any like nowhere. It seemed like there was this void of like energy, and it like needs some kind of specific interaction to occur for that. I don't know how we got like the death card randomly, but it just needs like specific circumstances for it being able to trigger and you know, access the void. So one of my theories is like the Big Bang theory, or sort of the universe, was actually just a place where the void started to interact with what we now know as the world. And an interesting thought I actually came up with, this could be just complete science fiction, or it could be a part of the theory if I actually, you know, like pursued it further, is like, what if the Big Bang was actually just like the previous universe that existed? Like, dying and just releasing all of that energy, like all that mass in that previous universe being turned into energy, and that's why there was such an extraordinary amount of energy at the Big Bang. So, and I would believe that, you know, black holes are actually seeing into the void. That's why no like light can escape from it and whatnot, and why we can't actually see in it, because the void isn't like something. It's literally, the idea is it's a void. It's the absence of anything, and it's so hard for us to imagine what the absence of anything is. But like, what I kind of liken it to help explain myself to people is like, you know how you don't know anything about your life before you were born. Like all of a sudden, one day you just like gain consciousness, and then you oh, that was so sad. And then you just like here in this world, like that's the like nothingness that I'm describing of. Because before you were born, there wasn't even something. It was just nothing. Like the lack of anything. And I think that's what the void is, because I believe the void doesn't actually have matter. Ancient recall card hasn't actually matter. It's just entirely energy. But because, as Albert Einstein showed us, that mass and energy are just the same side of the two sides of the same coin, because they can change into each other by E = mc squared. So, you know, my idea is that when, and like the thing is, I can't prove this is all true, right? Because it's like the same argument that I came from when I was talking about like ghost stories. It's like I can't prove any of this is true, but you can't prove that it's false. But my idea is like, so we have more like matter than antimatter. So I believe what might have happened is some of that antimatter might be sitting in the void as energy, and that's how we end up having extra matter in this world. Or what I was talking before about the previous universe idea is that some matter, like some energy, managed to escape into what we know as the universe from the void, and that's how like the Big Bang came to be. But I should probably shut up about this now, because I gotta go. We should probably try to get some bombs in there. I saw it coming, but I wasn't able to dodge in time. Oh shoot, if we would just had a little bit more HP, we definitely would have won that run. I think if we had one more heart, we could have did it, but unluckily we weren't able to come across any spirit hearts. But we spent like 10 minutes on boss rush, so we ended up getting some unlockables though. You know, that's all I can really ask for. It was a fun run. I had a great time. Like, the thing with this, like, someone asked me, it's like, you're less playing The Binding of Isaac, but like, when do you just like stop then? And it's like, well, I'm gonna just keep playing this game as long as I'm enjoying it, as long as I'm, you know, recording, having a good time. And I was like describing, like, recording these episodes like strangely therapeutic. Like I've said before, you don't really get a chance to just reflect and do one thing and just kind of concentrate on this one thing, because right now my brain isn't going all anxious and isn't having to worry about this and that. It's just talking about what I'm talking about in the moment and having a good time. And you don't, like I said, you don't get a chance to reflect too often on random thoughts you've had, because it's usually in life, you know, go, 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 go. And like I've tried in the past, like mindfulness exercises, because that's, you know, the main thing of mindfulness is like take a couple minutes out of your day to like sit down and relax and do nothing and just be at like peace with yourself. But I couldn't like actually find myself consistently doing it, because it was like I just wanted to like get moving and doing stuff. So I think this is like almost like Isaac's like an active form of mindfulness for me, which is, I think, is really cool. And if I can bring some joy to other people through these episodes, it's like just, you know, cream. It's just cream of the crop. It's just an extra benefit, and I'm so glad if anybody sticks around to actually listen to these and listen to this rambling guy just talk on and on about nothing while dying in the bonding of Isaac. You know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you a whole lot. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to end this episode. I don't currently have a plan for the next episode. We'll just see what I'm feeling. When we come back, we might think he might do Lazarus Azazel. We might try to like specifically go and unlock Eve. That would actually be really good. We played Azazel because Azazel can't actually pick up hearts. Is it red hearts? It just says hearts. So we might just do that. We might play Azazel, get our Brimstone Laser, play hard mode, try to get Eve. I think that's what we'll do. But until next time, everybody, see ya.